This video is going to be for a quick, brief introduction on taxonomy. So, taxonomy is the study of classifying organisms based on their characteristics. I thought it'd be best if we start with the man who invented the whole idea of categorizing species in order to keep things organized within science. So this man was Coriolis Linnaeus. He was a 1700s biologist who believed that with all the species that were being discovered, now Coriolis Linnaeus came to the understanding that with how large the world was, the species must differ in every different corner of it. So he decided what he'd do was he'd use a method of organizing these organisms into their own file. He did this with the binomial nomenclature. Now we'll go into further detail on binomial nomenclature in a couple minutes here, but this is a quick idea of how it works. For the example of this, I'll use Homo sapiens, which means wise man, and this is what classifies humans as they are today. So a phylogenetic tree was a diagram used in early, and still used today, biology, and it is used in taxonomy to classify species. As you go down the phylogenetic tree, you begin to get more specific in traits. So whereas domain you might start off with, does the organism move? You might get all the way down to species, and it would be the quills on this porcupine is 6 inches while the other is 5.8 inches. But as you get farther down, you get more and more specific. This made it perfect for as vast as the earth is and how many species we have. It made it perfect to name each one individually based on its specific trait. In this video, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the domains, but we will get into the specific characteristics of the different kingdoms within Eukarya. But your three main domains is Eukarya, Bacteria, and Archaea. So here are the 4 kingdoms under Eukarya. We have Fungi, Plantae, Animalia, and Protista. We're going to go into the specifics of each of these kingdoms in a second here, but I'd like to go ahead and give you some quick examples of what you could find in each kingdom. So, for the fungi, you could have things such as mushrooms, puffballs, truffles, molds. Animalia is organisms such as sponges, humans, dogs, cats. In Plantae, you have things such as grasses, flowers, trees, and then Protista are long words which I cannot pronounce. So, as we discussed before, the phylogenetic tree was used to classify species. So, as you can see, we have a mystery species up top, which we can go ahead and base, we'll base it in Eukarya, and then Animalia, and then we go all the way down, and we'll end up with a 2-word name which describes the animal, and it usually will be in Latin. So of course, after they had made these discoveries and they had finally figured out what to name these species, they would then document them and write them down and share them across the world so nobody else would accidentally write down the same species as a different name. So we'll start off the different kingdoms and their characteristics with Protista. Now, the Protista kingdom mostly consists of microorganisms. Mostly are unicellular, and if they are multicellular, they do not have specialized tissues. This means they won't have xylem or phloem or anything like that. They won't have anything that's complex, due to the fact that they are not a complex organism. So next on the list of the kingdoms underneath Eukarya, we have the Plantae. Now the Plantae consists of organisms such as trees and grasses and flowers. You know, what you'd think as plants. Now the Plantae are usually classified under being multicellular. They have cell walls. They contain chloroplast. They obtain their nutrients through photosynthesis and can reproduce sexually or asexually. So, as we said before, these are organisms such as, you know, corn and etc. So, Animalia is another kingdom underneath Eukarya, and the characteristics contained underneath Animalia is the multicellular. They're multicellular. They reproduce sexually. They are heterotrophic, and they use a cell membrane instead of a cell wall. Next on our list of kingdoms underneath Eukarya, we have the fungi kingdom. Now, the fungi, for a while, they were actually thought of being Plantae, but seeing how they have no chloroplasts, which means no photosynthesis, and that means they have to get nutrients otherwise, and they are Alright, well, that's going to be all for me, guys. This was a quick, brief description of taxonomy, and the study of classifying organisms based on their specific traits. Thank you for watching, and as always, go Bucks!